Thank you, guys. David. And two opinion polls this week confirms that the Victorian election is going to be perhaps tighter than most people expected. In fact, the way that it's moving, it's starting to get towards minority government territory. Bob Brown, of course, says that the Greens aren't there to preference anybody or to keep the bastards honest. He said they're there to replace them. And here's a really interesting statistic out of those opinion polls that we saw. For every Green now, there are just 2 Labor voters in Victoria.
Wow.
Wow.
And that just shows you the rise, and it's going to have quite an impact.
Very worrying. And if you've got the Greens in government, in minority government with Tasmania, the ACT, and federally.
Well, they're not in an alliance federally, but they have one member in the House of Representatives.
It's becoming the Australian way.
Who has some influence.
Well, yeah, but the question is this: when will the public wake up to this Marxist environmentalist movement? When will the environmentalists realise that they're being taken for a ride?
I know. Oh, Piers, you know, the way people vote, it's just distressing, isn't it? They keep backing the Greens.
There is something in Victoria called Operation Guardian, which is basically there to keep people safe on public transport. Now, the Police Minister, James Merlino, was asked about this during the week. Make your own judgment as to whether he's across all the details of Operation Guardian. Here he is.
Operation Guardian, Mr Merlino, what's the state with that?
Operation Guardian,
yeah.
I can't give you an update on that. That's
is it still operating?
My understanding it is, yes.
And have there been, what, improvements?
Yes, my understanding there has been now.
Where?
I can't go into the details there. Operationally, I can't comment on those details.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
What?
Well, this is around racial violence and improving a focus on violent behaviour in those areas.
What areas? Operation Guardian's based on the public transport.
Oh, that's diabolical.
And through all of this, Ted Baillieu is starting to look like the quiet achiever. So it's going to be a fascinating result. Final explanation, final prediction, observation?
Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of the New South Wales Labor MPs falling on their sword.
Every one of them.
Every one of them chuffing off, and who will be pre-selected in their wake. And let's hope that Sussex Street doesn't have anything to do with the pre-selections, and that there's a whole new crop. You never know what will happen if there's all these new fresh faces and all the rest of them have
What do you know
chuffed
about
off.
them? Are they emerging as a talented group? Do you know
No, we
anything about them?
I don't know anything about them.
Just
nothing.
Fresh talent to be thrown to the slaughter.
Yes, that's it.
The old ones don't quite fancy being slaughtered, so we've got a whole pack of new ones.
Sort of like one of those sort of chorus calls,
Right,
isn't it?
observation?
World leaders, unable perhaps to fix the economy of the globe, are at last going to address themselves, we understand, to something useful, which is doing something about the high cost of global roaming.
Good.
It's coming out of the conference.
Barry, the High Court, I believe, is going to throw out that ridiculous case that was brought by a Tasmanian against Senator Abetz on the basis of his German ancestry. Paul Howes makes a number of racist comments during his book about Senator Abetz and tweeted throughout the election campaign about Uncle Otto and Eric and so forth and so on. Will he apologise for his overt racism, having also calumnied Scott Morrison as the Minister for Racist...
You have to ask him. That's the program for the week. We'll leave you now with the Shadow Treasurer, Joe Hockey, still talking about the banks. Thanks for watching.
Well, Joe, you've definitely got the banks in your sights. Just quickly before you go, can you tell me what stadium you're standing in front of there?
Well, I don't want to give it a free plug.
Looks a lot like ANZ Stadium to me, Joe.
It does look like... Well, after I've finished here, I'm going to do a few laps around the track. And it's very hard to maintain this body shape, I've got to tell you.
Well, you're doing a great job, and thank you very much, Joe.